What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So as you can see from the screen, we are going to be talking some Dexter Resurrection, specifically episode 3 that recently dropped a few days ago. So if you haven't yet seen it, I'd recommend pausing, stopping, go watch it, come back, because we will be talking spoilers. So we already did our recap, our reviews, our scores of episodes 1 and 2, which both dropped on the same day. We have created a playlist specific for Dexter Resurrection, so we will be uploading all the videos every week of our episode by episode review and scoring of the episode itself, plus we're going to call it a series at this point because we don't know if this is going to turn into a season. We're just going to call it a series, is where we'll put the score for the overall series as well at the end of each video up to that point. So again, we have a playlist there, so if you want to check out what we thought about episodes 1 and 2, go watch that video. Otherwise, I'm not going to spend any time on what happened in those episodes, right? I imagine everyone's probably, if you're interested in Dexter, and you've been waiting for this series, I imagine you've already seen it. And if you haven't, I imagine if you're a follower or subscriber of mine, you may have already checked out that video, so you have an idea of what has already happened. So again, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time or any time really going on what happened with episodes 1 and 2. So we're going to jump right into my quick high-level summary of episode 3. As I mentioned at the kickoff of this series, I'm not going to get into the details, granular weeds, details, whatever you want to say, however you want to put it, of the episode. We're going to keep it very high level, just because I want to try and keep these videos fairly short, but still covering the main points of that episode. So now, spoiler alert. I'm giving you as I will always do, I'm giving you a verbal warning. Spoilers. Spoiler warning, spoiler alert. We're going to be talking spoilers from this point forward. Verbal warning, and if you look down below me, you should now see a spoiler alert, spoiler warning logo. So from this point forward, we're talking spoilers. So again, if you haven't seen the episode, you want to see the episode without being spoiled, go watch it, come back, and then either finish the video and drop a comment in the comment section and let us know what you thought of episode 3. So let's jump into it. So this episode was titled Backseat Driver. And what led up to the start of this, we already knew it was coming. Dexter was going to, in order to capture what we are now seeing is probably first confirmed serial killer in this series is the Dark Passenger, is what they're calling, is what the papers and everyone's calling him, because he's attacking like rideshare drivers, Uber drivers, things of that nature. So Dexter's now become one. He has a new car, and the episode kicks off where he's giving a rideshare, right? He has a client, he has a customer, and he's taking them. And you can see it must be Dexter's first customer, or one of his first, because the customer has a whole set of expectations that Dexter wasn't aware of, right? Like, for example, the guy asked for a bottle of water, he asked for a phone charger, and Dexter's like, yeah, I don't have any of that. Am I supposed to have that stuff? And then once he gets back home, he finds he got a poor review, a poor rating. And right before he gets into his apartment, his newly found friend, sees the review. He's like, oh, well, we got to do something about this. You can't have, I think his average was like a 4.2. He was like, that's horrible. You can't have a 4.2 out of 5 rating. So as Dexter makes his way down to his apartment, he starts looking at some of the recent newspapers about the Dark Passenger. And we're hearing the talk over, and you can see we're getting back into that old school Dexter, right, where he's collecting information about his next target. And so we also find later on in this episode where he orders his M99 when he's talking to somebody over the phone, like, oh, Dr. Patrick Bateman is the name he uses, and that name should sound familiar for some of you if you're a horror fan. He hasn't ordered, obviously, any M99 for quite some time. They recognize that. They chat a little bit on the phone, and they ultimately gets it. But before we get to that point, we quickly now shift. And again, as we did in episodes 1 and 2, as they're doing here, we're shifting between what's happening with Dexter and what's happening with Harrison. So the way things have thus gone for Harrison still aren't going any better. They're just getting worse now for him. So the police now are pretty much seeing him as a person of interest, maybe even seeing him as like the potential killer. So now he's being questioned by the detectives that we've seen thus far. They even show him some camera footage from the elevator with him, with his victim and with the girl that was there that he saved. And they start to question him about that. They start to question him what he was doing there. We now jump back. Again, we're jumping back and forth. And I'm jumping back and forth as far as how the episode is laid out. We jump now back to Dexter having dinner with his new friend and the family, only to find out that the wife of the individual did a background check, and that's because they mentioned to Dexter, "Oh, well, you know, when did you leave Florida, or why did you leave Florida?" And they were like, and Dexter was shocked, like, "How did you know I ever lived in Florida?" And she's like, "Well, I did a background check. I always want to know who's staying in my apartment, or who's around me, right?" So she did a background check. So she has all this information now on Dexter that he wasn't aware of. But he does ask though for a copy of that background check, and finds out what website or tool that the lady had used. So now he's going to use this in order to track down Ronald Schmidt. Ronald Schmidt being the dark passenger, right? So now this is how Dexter finds where Ronald Schmidt lives. He's able to deduce, from the information he already knows about Ronald Schmidt and the information he's able to search through this tool to find out where he lives. Finds his apartment, and this apartment is the same apartment that we saw previously, where Uma Thurman's character came in, found the driver's license, and put the invitation, the money up in the ceiling. So it's the same apartment. So Dexter obviously is looking for the trophies as well, and Harry's there, kind of popping up, doing a little spiel to Dexter. Dexter finds the trophies, the licenses, and realizes, hey, this apartment also will make a really good kill room. So I might just use that. So he does. So that's the plan. He decides to. Now, if you remember, now we do a quick jump, a side jump now to Angel Batista, which I wasn't expecting we would see him back so soon. But after one of the specific scenes from episode 2, where Harrison sells the truck that belonged to Dexter to one of the other employees at the hotel, and if you remember, I said, I feel like that's going to come up at some point, but again, I didn't think it was going to come up so quickly. Batista asked the police chief, "Hey, can you put a alert on that truck? If anyone sells it, if anyone pulls it over, so on and so forth, right?" So we jump to Batista. He's sitting, I imagine his apartment or his home. He gets a phone call. It's from that police chief saying, "Hey, got a hit on the truck. It got a parking. It was either a parking ticket or a speeding ticket." And Batista's like, "Well, where at?" And he told him New York. So now Batista knows or believes, which we already know Dexter's in New York, but now Batista believes, okay, that's where Dexter's at. So now we're back with Dexter. He's talking to his friend on how to better, be a better Uber driver, ride share driver, whatever. And so they have a brief conversation on the things he can do better, so on and so forth. And as Dexter's leaving, he sees his friend doing some maintenance on the house or on the building, and that will come into play later on because his friend, some of the maintenance he's using some of the steel. He's using some steel lining or metal lining to do some of the work. Dexter takes note of this. We're now back with the detectives who are now they're back in this bathroom. They know the bathroom is the key because, again, they keep hitting on the fact. Now, this is the third episode when the detectives have found the location of what they believe to be where the killing or the murder took place. It's just overly clean. It's too clean. And so now they are now realizing the body could not have been dismembered in the room. So now they're trying to figure out how the body would have been moved. So now this detective, again, kind of a unique, quirky detective, goes through the process, her own internal process of trying to identify where. So as we're going through, she identifies, would have been like one of these room service cards. Then they find the elevator, like the service elevator that Harrison used that doesn't have cameras, which then brings them down to the kitchen. Now she finds that the kitchen has like the table, the cleaver, has the drainage, and she sees someone taking trash out. and she questions him because there's this door that, like, this main, like, I don't call it a dock door, like a service door that they go out, and they're noticing it's always left open. And she says, well, to the hotel manager, you obviously don't keep this place that secure if this is always left open. Anyone can just come and go. So they realize that's an issue. And then they also realize that the camera outside is covered in pigeon droppings, so they can't see anything either. So we're now back with Dexter, who's getting acupuncture from his friend's daughter, who does this for a living. And he's thinking, okay, rather than bicker back and forth with my friend, I'll let her do acupuncture on me because, I'm getting old. He's using the excuse, I'm getting older, so on and so forth. But during a moment when Dexter was being hugged by his friend, he grabbed his chest, and because he's still feeling the pains from the gunshot wound, gets the acupuncture, and he believes he's starting to feel a bit better. Okay, so starts to move on. We're now back with Harrison at a restaurant with his friend, the other girl that works at the hotel, and Dexter's about to approach, but realizes, he's on a date. We see Harry there, and Dexter's like, well, he doesn't need me in his life. He's got somebody, and it's not me. He doesn't need me. Dexter decides to walk away and not see Harrison. So now we do a shift. This is now the first time we take a shift over where Peter Dinklage's house. We don't know his full character name as far as it's been disclosed in the episode, but we see Uma Thurman again, and they're preparing for this dinner, this event. And this deals with the invitation that she dropped off to the Dark Passengers up on the ceiling. So this is now where they're preparing for this event, and they're going over like the dinner menu and everything. So it's very quick. It's only like 2 minutes. I don't think it really has much of an impact to the story. It doesn't really have one at all. It's just letting us know that, hey, we're about to start seeing all these other serial killers come together. We're about to see all these other, castings that they did for the show. So now we jump back to Harrison, and the detectives now pull Harrison aside a second time. And now they're starting to show him more video. And they're like, hey, we saw you come into the hotel. We never saw you leave, yet you told us your alibi that you went out on a date, but you never left the hotel. So now he has no choice but to admit that he's homeless, that he stays in the hotel, and he now gives up his friend, the girl that he was with the night before, to say, she covers for me, don't want to get her in trouble. So the police eventually then go and question her, and then she becomes upset with Harrison because she can't afford to lose his job. She's a single mom, also going to school. So then now Harrison's losing like that relationship, that human connection. Now we're at the point where Dexter's already now received his M99. Now we do another sidestep now from the main story. We're now back to Batista. Batista's at what appears to be the same restaurant that he purchased back towards the end of the original series, and we get a couple cameos I was not expecting at all, and I think some cameos that a lot of people were excited to see. We get to see Masuka, and we'll get to see Quinn. Both show up, and this is where Batista's telling them, hey, I'm retiring, but there's one more thing I got to do, and I can't tell you all what's going on. I don't want to involve you. And they're like, let us know what's going on. And he's like, I just can't yet. I just can't. Now, I think, my belief is, I'm going to call this now. I think Batista dies. I think Dexter ends up killing Batista. That or possibly Harrison, but I think it's going to be Dexter. I think Batista knows that he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. I believe Batista knows that he's the one that possibly even killed LaGuardia. And he's going to go to New York. He's going to track Dexter down. He's going to either catch Dexter in something, doing something, whatever, or he's going to corner him, and Dexter's going to have no choice but to either kill him, or he's going to be cornered, realizing he can't escape, and then Harrison will kill Batista. I think that's what's going to happen. Now, whether or not we see Masuka or Quinn again, I don't think we will. I think if we do, that will be to set up a season 2 where they find out Batista was killed in New York, and like Quinn may want to go find out and investigate, but that would be the extent of it. So we're coming down to probably like we're getting towards the end of the episode now. Batista says his goodbyes. We end up now where Dexter's out doing another ride share, and he just so happens to get the dark passenger, happens to get Ronald in his car. Before Dexter can give him the injection of the M99, the guy gets behind him, gets the wire, like the wire that he uses like to around people's throats, around Dexter's throat. Now, one thing you'll notice that Dexter did when he was getting ready, he put on a turtleneck. This is key. This is important because what Dexter did was, underneath that turtleneck, he put a piece or a sliver of that steel or metal lining that his friend was using, so that if this did happen to take place, the guy couldn't like slit Dexter's throat, right? And he does try, because when Dexter reaches for the N99 needle, the guy tries to kill him and realizes he can't. Dexter happens to get him injected, and Dexter's realizing, man, I'm getting old for this. Dexter gets him back into the kill room, and this is where we get to the classic Dexter from the original series. You got the plastic everywhere. You have like the trophies of the serial killer, Dexter doing his speech and everything, and then Dexter ultimately has a little bit back and forth like he always used to, and then takes the knife right into the chest, takes him out, and again, that classic Dexter kill. Dexter then takes the body to some like abandoned part, like really bad area of the city, where he does the talk over that, the police don't come here, ride shares don't come here. So he knows it's going to be very secluded, not a lot of people around. And he finds like this old building that has like this large furnace. I don't know if it's a crematorium or an old like funeral home. It looks like it's just a big furnace. It could possibly be it. Puts the dismembered body in there. Starts to burn it, and then as he's doing that, he finds the invitation, and he's reading it, finds all the money, but then in the invitation it says you'll need, like, I think it was your thumbprint in order to confirm who you are. And then that's when Dexter realizes he needs the thumb. So he reaches back into the fire, pulls out the bag that has the hand, and then cuts off the thumb, and then that's where the episode ends. So I think what will be interesting, though, is now Dexter's now going to be taking, we assume now, based on the fact that he's getting the thumb and he's going to be portraying the dark passenger, he's now going to have to portray this other individual, know how he, kills. I mean, he's going to have to be this person, which I don't know how Dexter's going to pull it off, especially if they start questioning about like his day job and things of that nature. But yeah, he's going to be taking over the identity of this serial killer in order to get into this dinner where all these other serial killers are, where we will now see like Peter Dinklage, Neil Patrick Harris, and all these others, which I assume is going to happen in episode 4. Now, how long he's able to keep that up will be interesting. I don't think it will be for long. I think it might be a couple episodes before they ask him to do something he's not cool with, and then he'll turn on them and try to start killing all of them. I think what will end up happening. Or Dexter will do something, or he won't do something that they asked him to do, and then they'll try to kill him, and then Dexter will end up killing them off. All that to say is that's where I think Batista might get into the mix and lose his own life. So overall, I give it a solid 4. There were some slow spots right throughout the episode, some fillers that they were trying to take up time in. I think once we start I think after this, it will start picking up. Once we start bringing in all these other serial killers, right? Once the heat really starts coming down on Harrison, and I think it will even pick up more if and when Dexter and Harrison link up, where Harrison's needing help to somehow get out of the jam he's in. And even more so and I do believe Batista will show up. Probably won't. I can't imagine he's going to show up in the next episode. Maybe he does, and it's very brief, but I think maybe by episode 5, we will see him show up and possibly killed in 5, no later than 6. So anyways, I give it a solid 4 overall for the series. We're 3 episodes in. I also still give it a 4. I'm not at a 4.5 yet. We're still, I think, building foundational stuff still. I think once we get into bringing in all the other characters, all the other casts that are supposed to round out how this series is going to play out, like I said, I think that's going to happen in the next episode, so I can see things really starting to pick up then. So I have high expectations now from this point forward. So episode 3 of 4, series out of 4, but again, high expectations for episode 4 and moving forward through the rest of the series, because I feel now we've had 3 foundational episodes. Where's Harrison at? Where's Dexter at? Some of the side characters like Batista, and now Dexter's, he's settled. He's got a place to live. He's got his N99. He's got his weapons. He's now had his first kill. Now let's start ramping things up. So, all right, everyone, that's going to do it for this Dexter Resurrection Episode 3 review. Again, we're giving it a 4, and giving the series at 3 episodes in also a 4. We will do our Episode 4 upload hopefully next Sunday. If not, we'll do it Monday as well to give everyone enough time, a few days to watch it if they decide to. Otherwise, drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Do you agree, disagree with the score for the episode, for the series as it stands, 3 episodes in? Also, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.